G'day guys, welcome to another Mark Makes video. Today, I'm in the great outdoors and I'm going to be making an overnight survival shelter. I've been wanting to film a video like this for quite some time, but it was a little bit of a struggle to find a good location. But here I am in what I think is going to be quite suitable for making a great shelter. There's plenty of materials around. I've packed a minimum amount of things, just a sleeping bag, some food, an axe and a little handsaw. I'll explain how I make the shelter as I go, and hopefully by the end of the day, I've got a decent shelter to keep me warm and dry overnight and have a good night's sleep. But let's get straight into it. So I've been walking through and following this creek line for the last 15 minutes. I'm hoping to find a little bit of a clearing, maybe further up this way, looking for a big log or some rocks or something that I can use as sort of a starting point for a wall for the shelter. So I'm gonna keep walking up this way and see what we can find. One thing to look out for though is the spider webs. There's hundreds of these little spiders around. I hope they don't bite because I've already walked into plenty of them, but I'll try and clear the way as best as I can with my axe. It's taken some time to hike through this. A lot of crouching as well. But I have come across a big log here, which I think is sort of what I'm after as a starting point for a shelter. This one's maybe a little bit too big and not super happy with the ground around here either. But I can hear falling water a little bit further up and it looks like it's clearing up there a little bit as well. So I'll keep going and see if I can find something maybe slightly smaller actually and hopefully a little bit more suitable. So see what I can come across. Alrighty guys, I think I have found the spot. This is just what I'm looking for. I've got these rocks on the left and that is a good starting point to work with, and then just opposite that are two trees here. So what I'm thinking is filling in the back across the rock from here to this first tree, then across to this tree, and from here across to that rock. Enough at least for me to lay down in and maybe even make a little fire with a chimney. And the flowing water that I heard before is just out here. So I've got this beautiful clearing and look at that. Absolutely crystal clear and a bit more of a cleared area. So I'll be making my shelter just in there. So the first thing I'm going to do is start clearing away all the dead branches and seeing sort of where the ground level is. There's so much of this leaf litter. These are what dropped off of these trees. I think maybe these are called pine needles or something, but they're going to make a really good base for where I'm going to be laying tonight, I think. For now, I'm just going to clear it all so there's no hidden nasties underneath, and then see what we're working with after that. This is turning out better than I expected. I originally thought it was just these rocks here, but it turns out there is actually another one right here and another one here. So already I'm getting a decent foundation, I guess, for the start. Looks like all of this is just layers and layers of rotting roots and litter from the tree. So I'm just going to keep digging down until I find what looks like to be original ground level. And I'm saving all the piles of it. So that's this stuff and this is more of the dirt, because later on when we get a roof, it'll be nice to cover it again with all of this. So I'll keep digging down for now and see how far we get. All right, I've got a spot that's cleared here. Here's the two piles. And I've prepared a nice level area right here. From here it should be long enough to stretch my feet out to there, and then a little bit of room for storage, I'm thinking. And right here between the rocks, if I do it right, I'm thinking that will make a good chimney right here and a bit of a fireplace right here maybe to keep me warm. But that comes down to, I guess, the construction of it and how safe that'll be. But at the very least, I'm going to have an open fire just up here in the clearing. There's plenty of space before it hits the leaves. I think that should keep me warm. And hopefully the mozzies out. The two things I'm fighting against are going to be the spiders and the mozzies, and I suppose the cold as well. But as far as insects go, there's mozzies around everywhere, especially with the water nearby. I was washing my face and cooling down, I actually saw a little yabby or some little crustacean. So that's interesting. There's definitely animal life around and something in the river too, which is pretty cool. I'm really happy with this spot, and it's nice to hear the birds and animals and everything all around while I'm working. The next step for this is going to be cutting down a whole lot of the small saplings, just so I've got a bunch of poles, and I'm going to use that primarily for the walls and most probably the roof as well. So I'll start cutting down them and bringing them over. I've got 2 logs back to camp, It's great because they're growing really close together, which means they're nice and straight and tall, but it makes it a bit difficult to cut all the way back through all the trees. So I'm going to cut up these two so I can figure out how long I need them for the wall, and that way I can cut them into smaller pieces back where I'm felling them before cutting them back. It's going to make them a little bit easier to carry back than having them 6 meters long or however long they are. All right, checking in with a progress update. The walls are coming along rather nicely. So far, I've just used pressure of the branches to keep everything in place. So this fork is sort of wedged either side of the tree, which holds this one in place, which allows me to stack them in between. And then on this corner, I've kind of done multiple levers, but the fork keeps this one and this one in place from moving. And this branch is levering off of the tree up against this one, which is held up against one of the posts here. So basically everything here is pretty solid. This pole here is sort of sitting kind of loose. Before I go any higher with the wall, I'm gonna need to brace this one. So I'm thinking about putting like a forked piece maybe in the top somewhere, back to the rocks at like the roof height, and then perhaps another one back to either this tree or all the way across to this one, so that that is secure. So I'll get these ones built to a roof height and we'll go from there. And another progress update. I've finished up the back wall and this side wall here, and I've also built a frame for the rest of the structure. I'm really happy with it, and everything is working under tension, so I'm not using any string or rope or anything like that. So I've got a wall to fill in here. I'll stack the poles between this one and these, and it's all coming together. So I'll cut down some more trees and finish off the walls. All right, the day is going fast. I think it's going to be a pretty tight squeeze to have everything done by sunset, but I'll keep pushing on and hopefully we make it in time. These two side walls are now complete. I've got a space over there for hopefully a fireplace if I can get to it. I framed out here, so this is going to be the door right here on the left, and I've got to fill in on the right. I've got heaps of these branches left over from all the tops of the trees that I've cut down, and so they are going to go kind of on the roof like that. Gives you a little bit of an idea of how that's going to work. So I'm going to fill in this right hand side here, and I think at the same time I'll work on covering the roof. So I've covered all the roof with branches. That were all the offcuts of the trees that I cut down, and now things are really starting to take shape. So I got a basic cover on the roof, and then we have inside. It's pretty well covered, but there's still a lot of light coming through. So what I'm going to do now is grab all the leaf litter and the stuff that I pulled away from the spot that we're right now, and putting a layer of that on the roof. And I'll probably put some branches up against the wall and try and seal in some of those gaps as well, just to get it as airtight as possible. Well, I've got the roof cover on, but I'm pretty hot at the moment and pretty dirty as well from moving all that dirt. So I think I'm going to have a quick swim in the river down there, clean off. And I've got a little bit more to do on the shelter, but first things first, it's time to cool down. Oh, I'm feeling super refreshed and a little more energized now. That was a beautiful swim. The water was probably just about perfect temperature. A nice chill to get the blood flowing again. So I'll head back to the shelter here, and I'm going to clear a nice area around here. Most of it's already cleared anyway because I've used it on the roof, but I'm just going to clear it a little bit more and then make a little bit of a border with some rocks from the stream and get a bit of a fire going so I can make some coffee. So it's a little bit of an intermission from what I've been doing, but it'll be a nice break, and I'm well overdue for a feed. Well, the fire's going nicely. Got my canteen here, so I'm going to take it to the river and get some water on the boil. Fire's still going nicely, and I've finished a coffee and a bit of chocolate. Feeling re-energized. while the water was boiling on the fire, I've done a little bit more framework around the doorway just to make it look a little bit more homely, and also covered it with a bit more of this clover, which there is plenty of. It's quite soft and nice, so I'm thinking I might grab a heap of it and sort of make a bit of a carpet for my sleeping bag to go on. And I'll also probably add some on the outside just to seal the gaps of the walls and make it look a little bit nicer. The sun's probably going to be setting in the next hour or so, so I'm actually running out of daylight pretty quick, faster than I probably got time to actually finish what I wanted to. The roof is done, and I'm gonna stop filling in the walls for now. They're pretty much sealed. I was gonna leave the fireplace, but then I found this big rock and I've decided to put it in place. So really I just gotta fill up this gap here, and that'll be the chimney. So I'm gonna go mad ditch effort and try and get this chimney done so I can have a little bit of a fireplace inside. And I dare say once I'm finishing that up, it'll be close to being dark. Well, I'm pretty grubby again after removing all those rocks. But we have a chimney, which is pretty awesome. I didn't think I'd have enough time, but there's still a little bit of daylight. Here it is, coming out between the two rocks. So that goes straight down inside, and I'll just go around and show you what it looks like inside. It's pretty dark in here now, so I'll get out a torch. So I have a big rock here and another one there, which is creating a good divider between where the fire's gonna go and anything that's burnable. So I'll have a fire right at the back here, and then it should go straight out there. Got a bit of a bed here, could do with a little bit more, but inside it's looking more or less airtight. So I think I'll get a little bit more padding for the bed and move some coals over to here and get the fire inside going. Well, not a lot to see because it's pitch dark. I do have a torch, which is handy, and you can see there's a fire in the hut. Rather cozy in here. Chimney is working really well. All the flames are getting drawn straight up the chimney, and so I've got a nice little fire to keep me warm. So the sun is set, it's almost 7 o'clock. It's been a long day, been at it almost 12 hours straight now. The shelter's more or less sealed, and it's definitely cozy and warm with this fire right now. I'll also just walk around out the back here and I'll show you how the chimney looks. That's the chimney there, and all the flames are coming straight up. Quite happy with that. Working really well. So I'll stoke this fire a bit more, and I'll probably stack up some firewood just inside here, ready to set up my bed soon. I'll clean myself up a little bit after getting a decent amount of firewood. A nice stash here. Probably won't last me all night, but might get a bit more later. The fire's roaring. Chimney is working so good. I'm really happy with that. So once that gets down to embers, I'll get the pan out. I've got a bit of steak and a corn cob to cook up, and I'm really excited about it. It's feeling really cozy in here actually.
Happy with that. Bit of butter and salt and pepper. Absolutely delicious. I'm just going to make sure I don't bump my head on the roof because there's a bit of sand there, and then I get it showered into my meal. Other than that, it's rather enjoyable.
Just going to set up my sleeping bag now. Just about time to call it a night. All ready to go. The fire's burning nicely, and I'm feeling pretty tired after a long day and a good dinner. So hopefully see you in the morning, unless I get woken up during the night. We'll see what happens. Morning guys. I had a pretty good night's sleep. Basically woke up every hour or so, which gave me an opportunity to chuck another few logs on the fire. So that's been burning all night. Overall, everything's held up pretty nicely, and I'm really happy with this shelter actually. I ended up using all the firewood. The last piece went on at around 6 o'clock, so that worked out really well as well. So now I'm gonna get up, get the fire outside going, boil some water for a coffee, and see how everything's looking. Well, that's it from me guys. I'm just about out of battery on all my devices. The fires are pretty much burnt out. So I'm gonna pack up everything and head home. I hope you enjoyed this video, a bit of a different one. I certainly did. It's really good to get outdoors and do something a bit different outside the shed. Thanks for tuning in. God bless. I'll see you on the next one.